What up, y'all? Fabian, man. BigBossFabo back again with a video for the channel. I'm actually doing a reaction to Did You Know? We got Bear tries to get attention from Runner. When she realizes why, she decides to follow him, man. So be sure to check out my interesting stuff playlist. Got a lot of content that's just, I won't say random, but, videos that's not the norm. So like, comment, subscribe, check out the playlist, man. If you have recommendations for content you want to see me do, put it in the comment section down below. Let's get it.
Marissa had been jogging her usual track when she suddenly found herself not to be alone. On the side of the trail, she saw a wild black bear staring at her. Sensing her alarm, the creature lowered itself further down on the ground. Marissa, though scared, felt the need to follow it as it slowly walked away from the path, turning around to wait for her ever so often. But she never thought that with following a bear, she would find this. But before we start, make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. The bear did not look angry or dangerous, and it did not try to attack her. For some reason, her fear disappeared, and she felt like the...
Now, this may be a dumb question, because I think the majority would side with one answer, but if y'all was in a situation or an encounter in the wild, what kind of bear would you want to run into? A black bear, brown bear, or grizzly, you know what I mean, or a polar bear, or a koala. I don't even know if koalas are aggressive or dangerous, but if you're gonna ask me which bear I would probably want to run into out of all the ones I just mentioned, I probably would go with the koala, because I think they're the less aggressive. Or not koala, I meant to say panda bear. Koala and pandas, man, they not aggressive like that. I don't know. I think pandas may slightly be, but you definitely don't want to be in an encounter with a grizzly bear. Finitos.
Bear needed her help. She had never been this close to a bear before, but she had heard many stories about how dangerous bears are and how you should keep your distance from them at all times. "You're not that vicious, though, are you?" she quietly whispered as the bear slowly walked away from her, looking back at her every few steps. Several people saw what was going on, and they all yelled to Marissa, "Run! Get away from that animal right now!" "Fuck it, I'm doing this," she told herself, and she stepped into the bush next to the walking path. Nobody else was here. It was just her and the bear. The bear slowly continued its walk deeper into the forest, and Marissa followed it, making sure not to trip over a tree root. "Where are you taking me?" She was going to share her location with her boyfriend, Derek. She quickly texted him, "Sharing location just in case, I'll explain later," and put her phone back in her pocket.
Bro, explain now, not later.
She put it on silent, thinking that if someone texted or called her, the noise might scare the bear, and she did not want that to happen.
Nah, she knows that if she had answered that call, she would have sounded real dumb, or if she had been very transparent as to what she's doing. Hey, following the bear into the woods, I'll fill you in later. Immediately as soon as that location is shared, the boyfriend's gonna go, hightail it to that point, because it's like, bro, you finna get killed. You finna die.
The whole time, the bear kept looking back to check whether Marissa was still following it. As they walked deeper into the forest, Marissa noticed that it was getting late. Finally, the bear slowed down a bit and started sniffing around. "What is it? What are you looking for?" It was the bear. It was growling. Marissa was suddenly terrified, and she deeply regretted her decision. What was I even?
You're the guy with the
Where
gun,
is this
the person
going?
who would do anything to protect the ones you love. But did you know you could go to jail for simply doing the right?
Even thinking. Marissa noticed that the bear was looking at something behind a thick tree. It was just out of her sight. She slowly took a few steps towards the tree, and when she was finally able to see what was behind it, she gasped. You see, the bear had led her to a campsite. There was a tent, and whoever had stayed there had made a campfire the night before. The ashes were still a bit warm. However, there was nobody inside the tent, and it had been left open. It seemed like the camper had left in a hurry, and Marissa couldn't help but look inside. Who was staying here? And why had they left in such a rush? Something odd was going on here, and she wanted to know what exactly. While every instinct told her to head back, the bear's movements held her back. Upon further examination, Marissa noticed peculiar things. Inside, amidst the clothes and maps, she found a small locket with a picture of a family and a camera with a half-filled memory card. Among the scattered belongings, Marissa's fingers brushed against the soft, worn leather of a diary. Pulling it out, she dusted off the pine needles and leaves, revealing an embossed bear on the cover. The first pages were filled with neat handwriting, detailing the traveler's excitement about his journey into the forest. He wrote of his awe at the myriad of sounds echoing in the night, wondering about the creatures that made them. One passage read, "Their majesty is unparalleled, especially the black bears." The traveler's admiration for the bears took a more focused turn. "I've heard tales of a rare white-furred bear cub in this region," he penned. His desire was clear. He wished to document this cub, believing it could be the same.
It's kind of crazy. I don't know where this is really going, but in my mind, I'm thinking like they documented and penned all this stuff in their journal or diary to pretty much meet an unfortunate demise, is what it sounds like. Oh, this bear is so cute and beautiful. It's getting closer now. Now it's up close by my tent. Ah, you know what I'm saying? Like a step-by-step play out that leads up to the point to where things more than likely go left.
Centerpiece of a groundbreaking documentary. Marissa's heart raced as she began to grasp the extent of the traveler's plans. Dread filled Marissa as she continued. The traveler's obsession had turned dark. "This cub is mine by destiny. If it won't come to me willingly, I have measures to ensure it does." There were sketches of cages and details about bait. Every word, every hastily drawn map became a potential clue. Her fing. Marissa felt the weight of the decision pressing on her. Should she rush to the nearest ranger station, potentially wasting precious time, or should she use the clues at her disposal and venture forth herself? She considered the bear outside, its insistent behavior,
big.
silent plea. It was almost
That's
as
a
if it trusted
huge
her to do the right thing. Perhaps the mother bear had watched the traveler, sensed his intentions.
Bro, that don't even look like a bear. Why is the ears so far up like this, bro? That look like a mouse. Look like Mickey. What's going on right now?
And had desperately sought an ally in Marissa. She would do whatever it took to reunite the mother with her cub. Each whimper and echo tugged at her heart, fueling her with an urgency she hadn't felt before. She began moving in the direction of the sound. With every step, the cries seemed to grow both clearer and more distressed. Suddenly, Marissa stumbled upon a trap. It was empty but freshly set, the metal gleaming ominously. For a moment, her heart sank, fearing the worst. Nearby, she found a camera, discarded in haste. The lens had captured images of the forest, but no bear. Not allowing despair to set in, Marissa turned her attention back to the distant cries. The connection between the woman and the bear grew stronger, bound by their shared determination. As Marissa and the bear pushed further into the forest, they came upon a clearing where several large cages stood. More concerning was a smaller cage, lying on its side, its door broken open. Tufts of bear fur were caught on its jagged edges, and nearby, a tranquilizer dart lay discarded in the dirt. Without hesitation, Marissa turned on her heels, heading back to the campsite. Every minute counted now, and the pressing weight of the cub's fate pushed her forward. If there were more cages or snares, those cutters could be the key to freeing the trapped animals, including the bear cub. Reaching the campsite, Marissa dove into the tent. She rummaged through the scattered belongings, her hands sifting through maps, clothes, and equipment. Her fingers brushed against cold metal, and she pulled out a set of wire cutters. The feeling of relief was short-lived, however, as a rustling sound outside caught her attention. Emerging from the tent, Marissa's eyes darted around, trying to identify the source of the sound. The surrounding shadows seemed to play tricks on her, but then, from the edge of the clearing, a pair of eyes glinted back at her. Someone had been watching, waiting, and Marissa knew she was no longer alone in her mission. As she readied herself, muffled voices became distinguishable just beyond the clearing. 2, maybe 3 people were discussing something, their words blending with the forest ambient sounds.
Better get out of there.
"I told you she'd come back here," one voice hissed.
Damn. So the bear led this person to pretty much the lockup to free the homies. I don't know, man. It's kind of surprising to me because I've never been one to understand the intellectual capacity or nature of a bear. You know, you hear about animals that are smart, right? Like people talk about dolphins and, I don't know, maybe I could say dogs. I don't know. I don't know what smart animals there are out there except the cliche where people say dolphins are smart. They always saving people, always leading people to people stranded at sea, XYZ, you know what I'm saying? But I've never heard or had an association with a bear being some type of high IQ'd creature. You know what I'm saying?
Marissa's heart rate quickened. They were talking about her. She crouched low, using the tent as cover. Peering out, she caught glimpses of moving shadows. As one of the figures approached her hiding spot, Marissa held her breath, praying she was well concealed. But then the shadow paused, its head turning directly towards her. Their eyes locked. It was the traveler from the diary, his face grizzled, an expression one of frustration. Behind him, two others emerged, holding nets and gear. Looking for something? He taunted, eyes fixated on Marissa's. She clutched the knife tighter. The standoff between her and the traveler was palpable, each second stretching on endlessly. In a split-second decision, Marissa lunged to the side, using the element of surprise to her advantage. The traveler moved to intercept, but the adult bear, sensing the danger, let out a deep roar, causing a momentary distraction. Seizing the chance, Marissa dashed into the woods, knife in hand, hoping to use the dense underbrush to elude her pursuers. The chase was on. Marissa stumbled upon a clearing where a heartbreaking scene awaited her. The cub, with its innocent eyes, was trapped in a net, whimpering softly. It struggled weakly, its strength evidently waning. Seeing the cub ensnared, everything clicked into place for Marissa. The adult bear's behavior, its determination to keep Marissa at the camp, and its urgency in the forest. It was all an attempt to save its baby. They weren't just animals, they were a family fighting for survival. Drawing a steady breath, Marissa approached the ensnared cub with the utmost caution. The adult bear's eyes tracked her every move, its concern palpable in the tense air. Softly murmuring words of comfort, she carefully began to work on the snare, trying to find its weak points. With one last pull, the cub was free. It immediately scampered to its mother, burying its face in her thick fur, but their surroundings didn't allow for a prolonged reunion. Distant voices grew louder, and the rustling of underbrush signaled approaching danger. The traveler and perhaps others were drawing near, and their intentions were clear. The adult bear, sensing the imminent threat, positioned herself between Marissa and the oncoming danger, shielding both the girl and her cub. Her growls echoed with ferocity, warning any who dared approach. Marissa stood at a distance, her heart swelling with happiness and relief, overwhelmed by the powerful bond she was witnessing. The mother bear approached Marissa, her deep eyes holding a warmth that seemed almost human in its depth. With a gentle nudge, the massive creature rested her head briefly against Marissa's, a silent thank you that spoke louder than any words. Following the bear's lead, Marissa soon found herself walking along a path she hadn't noticed before. The trees began to thin out, and the familiar sounds of the world beyond started to filter through. Stepping out of the forest, the sunlight seemed a tad brighter, the air a touch fresher. As she made her way back to her life,
that's that sweet freedom. You know what I'm saying? When you in a difficult, maybe a challenging or a trying situation, you make it out. It's like the whole world hits you differently because you thankful. You thankful, you know, it could have been a complete demise, and it turns out to be something different. So, of course, the air smells that much sweeter. The water you drink is that much more refreshing. Like everything about life is just, is pure bliss.
Marissa couldn't shake off the overwhelming emotion she felt. The adventure had not only been a test of her courage, but a journey of self-discovery. She had forged a bond with nature, with the wild, and it had changed her profoundly.
For sure. Like I said, that one kind of interesting. That's an interesting story right there, man. That's bear tries to get attention from runner when she realizes she decides to do this. From Did You Know? So pretty much, man, interesting. So the bear had pretty much led this young lady to what sounds like some type of captive area where all the bears, cubs, animals was being held, and helps her escape and helps her. It pretty much helps her from the initial threat. That's interesting because, like I said earlier, I never pictured a bear as an animal to one, do things like possibly lead you to a particular area to protect you from danger. But then, it goes to show I don't know too much about specific animals. I think animals definitely have a side of emotion to them as well. Being protectors, that's just an interesting thing, you know what I'm saying? Especially coming from a bear. I want to, shit, if I had a bear that had my back, man, you have no problems. I'm talking about zero. Anyways, man, comment down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts on that one in the comment section below, man. Peace, love, prosperity. Everybody right with the channel. If you have additional recommendations, put them in the comment section. Peace, love. God bless. We out.